So every now and then I get sent a disaster save that is so messed up that it's a really good teaching experience, even if I can't save it. So no promises that this Austria-Hungary can be saved, which was sent in courtesy of Reddit. But I hope you guys will learn something as I dissect it. So let's go.
Buddha, Zeus, God! One of you guys do something! Help! Satan! You owe me!
Iron Man mode is on, historical focuses are off, so ugh. But before we get into it, I'm gonna be honest, I did have to turn off some DLC. I turned off Arms Against Tyranny, because otherwise these designers would be gone, but Austria-Hungary would not get any MIOs in their place, so you'd just be handicapped. I did leave By Blood Alone on, so yes, I don't have tank research, but it's currently irrelevant. Same for the air, so this is not an advantage I'm giving myself, this is definitely a disadvantage. Same with the intelligence stuff. La Resistance was not active. Apparently, this player didn't have a lot of DLC. That's fine. I don't need you guys to send me full DLC games. We can make this work. So, we're gonna go with the obvious here. It looks like you were attacking Germany and felt good about it. The bad news is, your entire military consists of 120-ish units, 122 units, and you are going up against a juggernaut that has at most 750 divisions. Now, there's a bit of a mismatch there in division numbers. So first off, it's okay to pick a fight because I can see this is an offensive war. You started the fight, that's okay, but prepare, be ready for it, have more than your bare minimum allotment of units. You're still mobilizing men, so all you would have had to do was go up to all adult serve first, and then just build more units, and then attack when you had an actual army. Same for the Air Force, you have no Air Force. Lord knows, because you've got thousands of planes in storage. You got 5,000 CAS in storage, and 3,000 fighters. Use them. And you have no navy, which is excusable considering, well, you're playing Austria-Hungary. You're overstacking your generals. Now, you may look at this and say, it's just a little red, it doesn't matter. It does. He is so overstacked that even though he is a level 7 general offering very, very great advantages to the units under his command, he has a 100% penalty to those advantages, meaning these units may as well not have a general. That is how overstacked they are. So what we're gonna do first is balance out your forces so that everyone has their correct allotment of troops. And I realize that Austria-Hungary doesn't have a lot of generals, but you still have one left over. You could have used that, and then you could have recruited more from this tab. It requires a lot of command power, yes, but you will thank yourself for this later on. Let's look into construction. This is a bit of a trap. Yes, it's not terrible to build AA if you're getting strategically bombed, but you're not. You're not getting strategically bombed here. So this is pointless. This is a waste. Instead, what we're gonna do is build infrastructure. And we're gonna look for places that have steel, like the Sudetenland. Look for places that have resources, natural resources that we can exploit. Oberbayern, anything really, just to get more resources, because that's gonna be our major hurdle, but I'll show you that in a minute. Once you've got the infrastructure up, either more military factories in your own territory, just so you have more military factories, or in your puppets to keep them from getting their autonomy up, because every one of these puppets is involved in the war. They're going to be fighting, and they're going to start drifting towards independence. When you lose your puppet, you lose all of the factories they contribute to you, which is not great. Everything to the north is going to be given up. There is absolutely no way that we can hold this. Nothing we can do to hold this. The Germans will drown us in bodies. So we're gonna pull back to the most defensible terrain we possess, which is going to be the Alpine line here. Might be able to even take some units and take a couple more tiles, because the AI sometimes does really weird repositioning. And we're then going to make use of the Sudetenland and the mountains up north. All of this mountainous stuff, hills, we might be able to hold. This is a massive bulge. We'll need to see what happens here. If I can take Presov and maybe Zelina, these guys will have no supply, and I might be able to close either a pocket or push that bulge back to narrower front line. Also here, we'll just sit on the mountains as much as we can. Try to get back to the rivers just to hold the best defensive ground. The only thing you have going for you is the fact that most of this stuff is mountainous and can be held relatively easily. The problem is you don't have the men to do it, so we'll need to recruit more. But let's look at your divisions. So the majority of your units are infantry template 5, which tells me you've been cooking. You have definitely been cooking. So first off, combat width. It's not as important as it used to be. There's a whole lot to be said about what's optimal, what's isn't, but you shouldn't be building this for a frontline unit. It's too expensive in terms of industrial cost. So the artillery here is very, very expensive, and you realistically only use it if you're either an industrial giant like the US or Germany, or for very select elite units that will function as your spearheads, because this is just too expensive. You are almost 3,000 artillery pieces short. Think about that. For a frontline filler, just a cheap frontline filler, use this. Well, not this. Again, you went for the 20 combat width, 20 combat width. It's some weird mantra some people have. I'll just remove one unit, bring them down to 18. I find this much cheaper, much more comfortable, and it's not that much worse. Honestly, it costs us, let's see, in terms of organization, barely anything. And organization is all that matters for these units. They fill out the front line. We've got infantry to hold the line, just a wall of meat. I got a little bit of support artillery to add that defense, to add that soft attack, to make the enemy pay for every attack, which is very important. We've got engineer companies. People say engineer companies are bad, like they're not good. They're great on the defensive. Not because they add like many defensive stats, they add entrenchment, and entrenchment is vital for your infantry line. It makes them dig in and hold. So engineers on the defensive. And this has support anti-air. Very valuable. It significantly shaves off any enemy air advantage. Let's switch everyone over to this new template. Well, everyone we can at least. So these guys are stuck, they can be switched. These guys are stuck, they can be switched. And these guys are also stuck, they can be switched. Yes, we are manpower short, a significant amount of manpower short, but it will give us a lot of towed artillery, a lot of support equipment in reserve, and we are still mobilizing like 9.5% of our population, so the manpower issue is not going to be an issue at all. Then you have a couple of tanks, 3. I have no idea how you can play until 1946 and have 3 tanks. 3 is not really good for 1946, so we want more. And we come back to another combat with mantra: 40 with tanks, 40 with tanks, 40 with tanks. Get it out of your head. If you really want to somewhat optimize tanks, bring them down to 30 width. They'll be a lot cheaper, they'll require a lot less supply, and they will still punch way above their weight class. Organization's still fine, armor is good. These guys will do fine. What I would probably get rid of is motorized recon eventually, because it just adds soft attack. It's not that great. Everything else here is okay. I will make them elite because the tanks are our elite units. As for the actual frontline reorganization, I'm going to do it off screen because it's going to take a ton of time. Essentially, I'm going to spread out all the units over a reasonable amount of generals so nobody's overstacked, even if that means leaving some armies without a general. And we're going to pull back to the most defensive terrain we can. I'm going to try and get this guy out. If that unit walks out of this tile, it will just have a weakened unit standing there and then attack with this unit, and that unit. Maybe I can get that unit out. These guys up here are 100% stuck. I cannot get through here. So by the time they would reach this, they have no fuel. They move at 1 kilometer an hour. There is no way to open this back up before Germany floods troops in. So I'm not even going to try. I'm going to sail these guys over to the UK where they might actually do some good. Same with that unit. Head to Wilhelmshaven and then to Norwich. And then over in the far east, there is still a front, which I'm honestly not... Oh god, I just noticed your faction. So China and all its miners are in our faction. That's really good, actually. They will tie down a lot of Japanese troops, a lot of German and Italian troops. They'll just tie down the world, really. Let's look at the focuses. So most of the focuses are done, and we're currently on army training, which is good because I'm going to be deploying a couple of fresh units, I think. After which we might pick up support urbanization and synthetic industry. The rest of the tree's done. There's very little point to this. All adults serve. I hate it. Thanks, but we have to. War economy cannot get total mobilization, unfortunately, because we lack the war support. We're going to go down limited exports right away because, one, we're not going to be trading resources with pretty much anyone, and if we were, it's not going to way out against the lack of resources we have, because look at our production. A lot of this stuff is lacking resources to the point that we're not making anything. We don't have enough steel, we don't have enough tungsten, and we'll probably not have enough rubber, but rubber we can fix. Steel and tungsten are a problem because all of the steel, or at least a great deal of the steel, is in Germany or France at a very long way away from our front lines, and all of the tungsten is over here in Portugal, and we can't realistically trade with them because Germany controls controls Gibraltar Straits, and anything that has to go via sea is going to get sunk, giving us an even bigger penalty to war support. Then we have the War Industrialist, fine. Silent Workhorse, fine, I guess. And Captive Industry. These are all fine. You don't have a spy guy because the DLC La Resistance wasn't active, but at this point, I would get rid of the political power guy. It's that late in the game. You've made all your choices. Get the spy guy if you can. Tank designer, fine. You only have the one. Ship, same. And motorized equipment or infantry equipment. Not that it matters all that much at this point, since everything has been researched. Okay, so Army Defense. You might think, okay, we're on the defensive. I want the Army Defense expert. Yes, but Army Offense is actually, in my personal opinion, better. Not only will your divisions deal more damage to the enemy as they defend themselves, their base stats will be enough to not need the extra division defense here. So this just results in you taking bigger chunks out of the enemy while you're holding, and when you counterattack, you do more damage. So I always go for Army Offense. I'm going to use the limited manpower we currently have in the pool to get a couple of extra divisions out. The units in the field will be undermanned for a little bit, but we're still mobilizing more men reasonably quickly. Then we'll talk to Hungary and Britain, request forces. We'll request 21 divisions. We'll assign them to no general in particular. Frontline there, attack order towards Plymouth, and we will assign these fresh units that have to make the trek to that army. At least they will make themselves useful, provided they can get out. Now to production. Production's screwed. So 30 factories on guns, even though you have 600,000 in storage. My boy, my man. Let's pull this back to 15 for now. Support equipment, 6 factories, and we have 25,000 in storage, so let's leave it at 5 for now. Same with artillery, let's leave that at 5 for now. Put a couple of extra factories on trucks because we're gonna need them, and then the big stuff. Submarines, no, definitely not submarine ones, so we'll just make some convoys. Strategic bombers, I don't like strategic bombing. Well, I do, it's just not something that's gonna save us right now. Naval bombing, maybe to deal with the Italian fleets, maybe to deal with the German fleet, but in all honesty, I need that rubber and aluminum elsewhere. I could leave the factories on it for now, we'll see. Mechanized equipment, we'll leave that at 15 for now, and medium tanks we'll leave at 20. We're not making anything due to our total lack of tungsten. CAS, we'll keep making CAS. We'll just keep boosting aircraft then. Air is going to be very important this run since we do have something to start with. Okay, now we are going to need manpower. None of these decisions really matter. Trade. We're going to need to do some trading. Not with Russia because Russia's gone. Regno del Sud, maybe. Yeah, there'll be a good source of steel. And then tungsten. Again, Russia's gone. Unfortunately, shouldn't have called Russia into your war. Russia is a really good puppet to have as long as you don't call them into a war, because they're just really big, so they have a long border that wastes a lot of space or wastes a lot of units. I could trade with Republic and Spain. They're right there, but I'm going to lose a lot of war support because my convoys will get sunk. Slow the game down. It's going to be a mess. It's unavoidable that it's going to be a mess. So everybody use strategic redeployment. Makes them move a lot faster. Just get to where you need to go. The UK is still here in Pitcairn Island. Oh, you magnificent bastard, Winston. Let me guess, you have a massive fleet. You have a massive fleet. Also, China has the Falkland Islands, so I guess that issue is resolved finally. These guys are making their way to sea, and all of these guys up north just have to run south. Just run. Disengage from any battle, followed by immediate strategic redeployment. There's no point in fighting any of the battles here. All that does is slow us down. We are simply leaving. Over here, we're setting up defensive lines nicely, more or less. Same up here. I don't need more front lines. Keep that combat going. All right, get out. Get out of there. Yeah. We can now make this front line a little bit shorter. We'll stick to forests and city tiles as much as we can, while also trying to, of course, keep things narrow. I can hold on to Nuremberg. I can hold on to Franken and its resources. Well, we'll see if this holds, honestly. I don't know. So this is just going to be a slow, methodical withdrawal. Italy's going to lose a bunch of units. Like, there's nothing I could do about that. Italy will lose the majority of the forces they have up north. Yeah, these UK units are really bad. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do anything to save Hungary and Britain unless they reposition some forces. But first off, I have to worry about my own skin. Speaking of my own skin, as you can tell, probably, maybe. The Germans are pulling a lot of units away, so we can now take advantage of this by walking into tiles they have abandoned. Glyphits, and then go into that tile, go into that tile, you move into that tile, move into that tile. This will also allow us to shorten the line a little bit more. We do have a couple of mountains to contend with, so I'll make some mountaineers. There, 25 with mountaineers. Excellent for, well, mountains. We'll add support AA, support artillery, maybe a little bit of cavalry recon for the extra soft attack. These guys should do wonders in the mountains, make them elite as well. These units will be my mountaineers, and I'll slowly convert units into mountaineers as we go. This is going remarkably well because the AI is doing very weird things. Let's grab all the tiles we can here. Up here, not much going on. No real opportunities to push back. No point in pushing out either. Are you guys seeing this, or am I? Okay, so I'm going to quickly delete this order. I'm going to walk forward into the other territories here, into the mountains, because for some inexplicable reason, Germany has abandoned these mountains. And the further out I can keep them, the better. Okay, so I'll take the mountains then. So thank God Italy in every incarnation is incompetent, and all it took was 2 tanks to bypass most of the forces still here. I don't know what's waiting for me down south, but the push is going well. This, not so much. So we'll pull out of this. This is mostly Italian units. Yeah, actually, just a couple of positions are under pressure that are actually positions I want to hold, but the majority of these red bubbles is Italian units that are still trying to hold on to Transylvania and Carpathian Ruthenia, which I am willing to give up. It's not going to cause me to capitulate. It's going to hurt, but I can take the loss if that means I have a defensible position. But yeah, Italy might be on its way out. That means Regno del Sul here is actually going to be a full partner in this deal. And we have managed to pull such a fast one on Italy to the point that we are about to take Messina, probably take out Sicily. That should secure our Italian holding, so I can start dedicating a little bit of manpower to coastal defenses once I finish replenishing all the troops in the field. But so far, our situation is a lot better than it was when we started. Even though we have less territory, what we have can actually be held. As far as the UK is concerned, good news, bad news? Bad news is new naval invasion. I'm expecting to get bombarded by naval invasions because... well, yeah, the enemy fleets are bigger than the ones protecting the UK. This has now been encircled. That's 15 divisions will kill. And this Hungarian unit is going to pull the units out of Plymouth. And that should secure the initial naval invasion. Now, I just need to beat this new threat down as well. All right, I've beaten the last naval invasion in the UK. Got really lucky that the AI lands and then leaves with half the army, because these UK divisions are absolutely shit. But we got the island secure, and I'm just going to set these guys to port guard and not touch them. These 2 infantry units are really and the tank as well. I cannot get the tank home. Might as well recover the actual tanks. So I'm going to convert these guys to coast guard, recover the manpower and equipment from these things. There we go. As manpower ramps up, I'm still trying to get more units. I'll need 4 here, 4, that's 8. 11 units in total to fill out the first field marshal, and then we can be a little more selective about putting up some air. Oh, and with Italy back in commission, I've decided to make a donation of 150,000 guns and some trucks, mostly to get their autonomy back down, so I can do some puppet stuff. Manage subject, there we go. They're about to go up to colony, don't want that, want to keep bumping them down as much as I can by building in them and giving them lend-lease, etc, yada yada yada. But also because they have only 82% stockpiles, and from what I can see here, what they're mostly lacking is guns usually. So more guns for Italy, who now actually has I was gonna say actually has manpower, but they do not. Oh, with all this entrenchment, I can sit here and watch the magic happen. Now, I could go out of superior firepower into grand battle plan. If I have 500 army XP, I can go to here in a single go, which would get me a lot of entrenchment and defensive bonuses, but we're not going to win this campaign just defending, and the counterattack opportunities offered by superior firepower are just way better. We'll just switch out static warfare for smoke and fire when the time comes, maybe grab quick improv or proper heritage for the inevitable counterattack, and then we will go for glory. Yeah, pretty big pressure on the Alpine line, but everywhere else the AI seems to have stopped attacking. Not going to poke the bear, so we'll leave it at that until we get more units. Well, the theme I'm I'm going for here is death by 1,000 cuts to Germany, so small encirclements wherever possible, not to mention shortening my line, and make them bleed. I'm also bleeding, but not as hard as they are. And I'm still mobilizing more men. Also got a bit of an air force up, 1,000 planes in the Alps, 1,000 in Czechoslovakia, but Germany will always simply deploy more airplanes. And with a little luck, we can take Krakow, and that creates a little pocket. You also get control of the state of Krakow. More factories for the factory gods. Come on. Yes! These guys are all encircled. Okay. Clean up pile 3. So I've decided to turn my ambition elsewhere. I'm gonna try and steal Ober- und Niederschlesien from Germany. There's a lot of steel there that I can definitely use, and less steel I have to trade for with Italy, the easier I can annex them. Plus, Germany seems very stretched right now. They are committing a lot of troops. Ooh, dear. China might be doing poorly. They're committing a lot of troops to China, so that's great. And they're still committing a ton of troops to America, who are holding on. I respect the American drive for victory here. Like, they're not dying, and they're actually doing really well in Venezuela. I could go on a major offensive now, but I think I'll regret it in the long run. I need a couple more tanks. I need a little bit more infantry to make it possible, but we've already managed to steal Niederschlesien from them with just like 2 tank pushes. 1 tank push, really. Next order of business, work our way north here. As long as I stick to conquering alongside the river, I could make a big corridor between these 2 rivers towards the Baltic Sea, and I would still have defensive ground along those river edges, but I'm gonna need a lot of infantry to follow behind and to make sure I don't overextend myself. That might be the difficulty here, but I have manpower, I have equipment, I can do this. We're so overextending ourselves though. Oh, we're so overextending ourselves, but it's still working. It's still working, so I am confident. Mein Gott, I'm outside Berlin. All right, I have to try. Go for Berlin. Go, 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 go. The heart of the Reich. Carve it right out. Ah, made it to Berlin. Suck on that, Mr. H. Suck on that. Beautiful. So, as you can see, nice amount of territorial gain. Germany still spread super thin. I have to exploit this. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I have to go for it. It is just 2 tanks fighting under red air, but by God, they will keep fighting. All right, so we have effectively cut Germany in half. We have 91 divisions on the eastern flank. That might be a little bit too many. I'll have to reorganize. And another 35 divisions on the western flank. We're gonna have to reorganize this somewhat, I think. Anyway, time to start the offensive, I guess. We're gonna swing west as best we can. Keep the Germans on their toes. Reposition as fast as we can. Make use of this. We have an excellent opportunity here to hurt them. Use it. This is a pretty big deal. I have to make this offensive work, because if it doesn't, I have overextended myself to the point that I'm in danger. I'm gonna peel a couple of units off the eastern line to reinforce the west, because I'm gonna need a lot of units to push that front. Let's recruit a couple of extra divisions. It's gonna be expensive. The drive forward continues. I'm gonna force deploy these 2 tanks. 4 tanks is better than 2 tanks. I'd rather have them on... Oh god, yeah, there's a lot of Germans moving in now to stop me. All right, Germany, this is what happens when you overextend your front. You get your teeth kicked in. Let's make use of our speed and our breakthrough. I'm gonna run along the coast, grab as much land as we can, and when I can, I'm gonna force deploy these infantry divisions to help make that front line a little bit more sensible, I guess. So we'll look for the weaker points of the Allied Axis line, somewhere through the center. If I can get towards Frankfurt through these tiles, even better. Just looking where the supply hubs are, capturing that, disrupting railways, that sort of stuff. Now a big armor push towards Frankfurt. Anything to disrupt their forces. Also severely hurts their local supply, giving me an opportunity to take advantage of that. UK and Americans seem to be shipping troops in. Now that I have a port in Wilhelmshaven, there is a connection that can be made, so yay. Oh my god, the USA is doing great. Yeah, I never doubted you, Carnot Wheeler. I never doubted you. All right, that is a pretty good encirclement. Let's close the gap, make sure that goes away. I think that will be the final nail in the Axis coffin in the west. Then I can just roll down the Reichskommissariat hurt the German Reich itself, and the French Commune won't have much to stand up to me as well. Very pleased with the outcome. It was a big gamble pushing out, because if at any point Germany decided, you know what, I do have a brain and I'm gonna turn it on, or alternatively, if there was a real serious naval invasion in Italy, I could have had my ass handed to me, because I was seriously overextending my line. Fortunately, it just seems Germany's out of steam. Their manpower is incredibly low, and I don't think they have what it takes to keep going. German capitulation! That's like half the struggle gone. That does offer problems. Major problems in, right, I'm gonna be releasing a lot of nations, because I don't want to garrison all that stuff myself. No. Why am I occupying all of this? I don't want to occupy all of this. This looks fantastic. But that's deceiving. It looks like this is also thinly held now. How about we attack into France from there? Offensive, aggressive, go. Start attacking, make use of the fact that there's nobody home. Other army, Red Army, French border. French border's not that well defended either. Attack while you can, mop up while we can. Just go. Utrecht, Amsterdam, go, push through. I have to look at everything at once. It's distracting, it's difficult, it's annoying, but this is the opportunity. This is the breaking point. I can do this. All right, there goes the Reichskommissariat Niederlande. The drive continues. All right, I still have some issues, but we're getting there. It's happening. The drive to victory goes hard. Montenegro's dead. The drive forward continues to victory. Oh, this is sweet. The sweet taste of victory. That should take Latvia out of the equation as well. Yeah, they will capitulate. Bada bing, bada boom. Sweet. Oh, this is so much worse. All right, now to annex Italy. A little bit of a risk, but there we go. They are now integrated. Their stuff is mine. Their units are also mine. All of them are bad, but I can create armies out of them. Oh, I can release the many parts that make up Italy. So I'm going to start releasing them and holding on to my own cores, retain cores. I'll just start releasing nations. A beautiful Balkanized Italy, just like I want to see it. I can't do anything with the southern parts because they are technically occupied and not owned. As far as the rest is concerned, I can give it all away. One by one, they all fall. No one can stand against Austria-Hungary. In what I can only describe as the biggest reversal in all my disaster saves I have. This is amazing. I love this. All it took was one shove, and the whole house of cards came crashing down. And now we're almost there. We're almost at that point of victory. I'm gonna go ahead and integrate the UK next through building in their territory and a massive Lend-Lease campaign. I can probably use their navy, which seems big enough to then invade Japan and get this over with. Honestly, I should get their ships. Navy-wise, at least this gives me some naval vessels that I can use. I'm gonna put them all in Plymouth, group them up, use them for a naval invasion of Gibraltar. That should open up the Mediterranean. Then I'll group up all of my ships, send an army over to China, and I will invade Japan. And annoyingly, I have to wait for the Suez Canal to be repaired because I need naval superiority in Western Mediterranean Sea, because Gibraltar, I technically can't invade Gibraltar from the outside. Let's see, if I want to make a naval invasion from, say, down near Casablanca to Gibraltar, that's not possible. I could make one from Oran to Gibraltar, but yeah, Gibraltar, even though it slightly borders this sea tile, it's not a valid route. Everything has to go through here, which means I have to get my fleet into the Mediterranean, which is going to be a pain in the ass. I need to repair Suez Canal. That takes a year. I don't want to do that, and instead I am going to probably sail this big ass fleet that I inherited from the British. I'm going to sail that over to China. All right, after an absurd slog through Siberia, we managed to reach China, help China push the Japanese out. With the UK fleet and the Italian fleet under my command, along with probably some American ships in the area, we are going to be able to invade Japan. We've essentially conquered or reconquered the world. Look at that. What a lovely faction name. Let's just get this over with. Oh, and at some point, Spain joined the war by declaring war on Italy. Probably because Italy was holding on to Gibraltar, so Spain decided to get in on the action. Fine by me. Invasion of the mainland, or the home islands, actually. All right, we're in. We've got a port. Hiroshima. Tanks. Attack. forward. I'm gonna send the infantry over as well. It's over. It's finally over. I don't even care what happens in the peace deal. I couldn't care less about the peace deal. Oh, that's game over. Let's take a look at just how disgusting it is. Hungarian Germany, mighty Austria-Hungary, completely Balkanized Italy here. Wonderful, as you do. And yeah, I've tried to piece as many countries together as was feasible. We've got a mighty big faction here. Yeah, thanks for that name. But of course, because this peace deal system is atrocious, Japan is still around. Germany is still around in India, of all places. And that's about as far as I want to look into it. China got big. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys will enjoy this next video as well. See ya.